脚车当然是我的另一半，女朋友她算脚力，因为我有5辆脚车嘛，然后就带着她骑行7400多公里，穿越15个国家。
So about 12 years, I have been practicing the saxophone from 4 hours to 12 hours a day. The saxophone is an integral part of my being.
39岁的罗德明喜爱和脚踏车结伴出国。这天，他们出发到印度尼西亚巴旦岛，展开属于他们的旅程。
全靠你了。巴丹风景漂亮了，车比较少，在那边骑车安全多了。通常我会出国训练我的超级马拉松比赛。我曾经为了参加意大利的一个比赛，特地逆时针马来西亚2400公里，用了13天。我也骑过新加坡到马六甲500多公里，用了23个小时。
超乎想象的魔鬼训练，对这位超级马拉松脚踏车骑士犹如家常便饭。
长途训练的目的是为了让我的身体能够适应 high intense 的骑行，然后要有那个痛处。早在10多年前，我的腰每次骑了200-300公里，我就开始痛，膝盖也长期因为磨损提早老化，比别人早了10多20年。有些人就觉得我很自虐嘛，可是就是觉得，痛可以让我活着感觉。
2年前，德明辞去世子检测员的工作，骑着脚踏车踏上征途，写下创举。从挪威到西班牙，横跨15个国家，100天骑行7400公里，成为单独完成最长欧洲脚车旅途的新加坡纪录保持人。
这场比赛是我骑过最难的一场比赛。天气有时候会让人受不了。它最冷的时候去到好像4度，它最热的时候去到40多度。Feeling headache。还有食物，一直吃冷的东西，一直吃面包，导致我消化不好，就开始吐。这项比赛大多数我都是睡马路，每2-3天洗澡一次，导致了我有了一点皮肤病。除了体力方面，我觉得精神上是最痛的。遇见困难还是累的时候，有时候会想要放弃。Every day I got to ride through this unpaved road. It's very challenging. 可是只有自己跟自己说，不要放弃。I'll make it to the top. Nothing will stop me. 经过了这次比赛，就觉得哇，我的脚车还挺可靠的，没有辜负我，像是生死之交。
在陈嘉玲的房间里，有间小小的练习室，这里是她和另一半萨克斯风的专属天地。
Because of COVID, I had to, find ways to practice. And so I remember even opening my cupboard and just playing into my clothes, and so that it would dampen the sound. And yeah, then I did a bit more research, and I found, that there was this studio in a cube form, and I bought it. And so now I can practice at any time of the day, at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and no one knows.
20年来，风雨同路，朝夕相伴，萨克斯风依旧深深牵动着嘉玲的心弦。
Every day, this beautiful feeling of playing the saxophone starts from the very first note. Sometimes it's really warm and resonant, and then I will have a really beautiful day for sure. It's a connectedness to my instrument that I don't necessarily find with any other human being. The saxophone is part of my identity. Leaving the house without the saxophone, I'm not sure who I am.
32岁的嘉玲和萨克斯风的缘起，像是命中注定。
So in Sec 1, when I decided to join the band as a CCA, I was sent to play the saxophone. I'm still not sure why. Maybe the way my teeth are. I mean, it was the Harry Potter moment where I put on the sorting hat and I was chosen to play the saxophone. And when I first picked up the saxophone, it was quite an intimate moment where you have your lips on the mouthpiece of the saxophone, kind of like a first kiss. When I produced the sound, it was quite beautiful. I guess I could play and create a new language, a new emotion with a new way of expressing myself.
嘉玲从小立志成为专业的萨克斯风乐手。19岁那年，她远赴澳大利亚墨尔本大学音乐学院深造4年，主修萨克斯风。毕业后，又先后到法国和荷兰，向国际萨克斯风乐手拜师3年，精进吹奏技巧。嘉玲对萨克斯风的忘我追求，曾经让妈妈担心。罗德明从小爱骑脚踏车，长大后他热衷长途骑行，也勇闯铁人3项。2010年，德明首次和脚踏车远征，从新加坡途经马来西亚、泰国、老挝、越南，一路骑行到中国。这次壮举点燃他对超级马拉松脚踏车的热忱。
骑行是我一辈子想要做的事情。没有了脚车，就好像没有了老子喽。脚车一直都在我的身体里，在我的心里，在我的血液里，就喜欢脚车，喜欢骑行，就喜欢它，很简单的，就喜欢它。
和脚踏车相伴远行，德明从不感到孤单。
每次出国，脚车变成沟通的桥梁。Yeah, cycling from Singapore. 出国参加比赛，还有一些人说，哦，我也是骑脚车的。And this is Alexandra from Ukraine. 然后我们就会拍个照片，有时候他们还会请我到我们家吃饭、喝茶、用厕所，还挺感动的。有时候，虽然是语言不一样，肤色不一样，可是脚踏车就把所有的人连接在一起，就看到世界是美好的。
The instrument for me is really a part of my life. I wake up and I'm thinking saxophone. I go to bed, I'm thinking saxophone. I am in such a love for the instrument that, I am thinking 24/7.
陈嘉玲对萨克斯风爱不释手，妈妈看了心情复杂。
他很爱这个 saxophone， 他每天都是很多时间在吹，很 practice， 很少时间跟家人在一起。起初我不想他学音乐，跟我就觉得他应该去当一个 accountant， 或者是当一个lawyer 还是什么。我觉得那时候音乐家不能赚很多钱，所以我觉得很担心。
Having my parents, question me all the time, it made me really, really think. I knew very, very sure that I wanted to study the saxophone. And, I was like on fire the moment I started the degree, and I was practicing like so much more than all my peers. Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I enjoy very much.
嘉玲全情投入萨克斯风，最终获得父母的认可。为追寻音乐梦，嘉玲在国外待了7年，直到2019年，家里突然出现重大变故。
When I was in my second year of the masters in Amsterdam, I was deciding if I should come back or stay in Amsterdam to build a life there. And I got on a call with mom and dad. And that was when my dad told me that my mom had breast cancer. When I put down the phone with them, I remembered I just continued practicing, but like tears were just streaming down my eyes uncontrollably. It was a very difficult moment. I was using the saxophone as an outlet, frustration, a lot of sadness, in fact, anxiety, not knowing what would happen to my mom. If I didn't have the saxophone, I think it would be really rough. The saxophone and I have been through so much. We've been through ups and downs. It's really my other half, and I will continue to play the instrument and to share emotions with the instrument.
与萨克斯风一起漂泊追梦的日子已成往事，但嘉玲每2年会带着心爱的萨克斯风回到荷兰，再次感受对音乐的痴狂。
I will fly 10,485 kilometers just to have my instrument looked at by the best. This time will be an overhaul of changing all the pad. The technician in Amsterdam is someone I trust fully with my life and with my instrument. I do miss my life in Amsterdam very, very much. There were very, very many great moments. But I am very thankful that I have found a family here in Singapore, my music family, Weird Aftertaste.
在本地，嘉玲受邀加入现代重奏乐团 Weird Aftertaste， 和志同道合的朋友大胆尝试新曲风，让她更勇敢拥抱特立独行的人生态度。
I can be myself when I am working together with this bunch of musicians. We can be as weird as we want to be. It's this like beautiful dynamic of music creation in Singapore.
不走寻常路，也是德明的座右铭。他宁愿到林厝港坟场附近去训练。
死人不可怕，我觉得活人更可怕。不管在旅途中，还是在生活中，不是每个人都是好人。那在国外有好几次，我都需在森林或需要坟场。大城市人多复杂。我在西班牙的时候，突然之间，有2个小孩吧，朝我的帐篷丢石头。在捷克，就有人泼水。脚车很特别啊，它不能够跟我对话，可是有时候做工不是开心。当我最低落的时候，它都会在我旁边。然后就带着他出去骑行，所有的不开心都会忘记了。
德明将脚踏车视为亲密的另一半，甘愿和他出生入死。
脚车比赛是我的一切，宁可死也要完成我想要完成的比赛。2022年，从欧洲的最北端骑到最南端，骑行最高的一座山，3200-300多米，接近顶的时候，突然乌云密布，我起雾，天气15度，降到4度，而月突然下起冰雹 ，the ice dropping， 再骤降多几度，我想我可能会活不了，我看不到任何的路，我很担心我会失足跌下山崖。Very painful and 很庆幸是让我找到出路。This is the highest point。每次我去参加这些超级马拉松骑行的时候，我都会跟我的女朋友或跟我一些朋友说，如果我不小心出了意外，叫他们把我的身体带回来。把我的脚车带回来，然后，一起火化吧。很多人也在问我，为什么做这些事情？人生短啊，反正我死了，什么也没有啊。我只是想要简单、好好的有我心爱的脚踏车陪着我，那就足够了。
脚踏车将罗德明和世界连接在一起，也让他结交了不少知己同好。60岁的林良进，山地骑行经验丰富，成为德明进行山路脚踏车训练的良师益友。
Lawrence remind 我年轻的时候，我也是要做 Ironman， 拿到5年去 train 啊。Then 后来 injured， 所以我 give up， 但我去做工咯。
So which one is better? Wuling is better or
Step
做工 life 是 normal 啦，but 假如你要去用你的时间跟 determination， 你要做一个 world class athlete， 你要 sacrifice。
德明为了争取时间训练，转而从事兼职工作，这一切梁进都看在眼里。
假如你不明白他的 mentality， 你会讲为什么这个人浪费时间啊？为什么不要去做工赚很多钱，能去做你的 hobby？But life 不是这样的啊！你要赚钱有时间呐，right？ But this type of thing in life you cannot do. So you follow your dream 啦。老的时候我有很多 memories about this life， 我的 achievement 啦。
陈嘉玲则通过教导萨克斯风来滋养心灵。13岁的张永乐是嘉玲最引以为傲的学生之一。
杰里呆其实是一个很内向、很文静的孩子，因为他缺乏自信嘛，所以呢，我就跟爸爸觉得呢，可能学一种乐器，能帮助他提高他的自信心。
我爱上了萨克斯管的声音，也觉得吹奏萨克斯管时很酷，也很帅。学得越多，就让我感到更有自信。
短短的1年之内呢，他就本身已经参与了好几项的表演，然后可能最有印象的呢是国庆日的表演。他表演的时候呢，真的是很轻松、很自信的样子，也看得出来呢，同学们很欣赏他的表演。
It really brings me so much joy seeing my students excel at the craft that I have been working for my whole life, and it reminds me of my younger self and my journey with the saxophone.
Play a bit of scales, we look at your exam pieces, and then we play a nice duet together. Yeah? It's really nice. How fast can you play without me?
在人生不同阶段，另一半似乎在引导人们寻找生活新意义。德明偶尔会带着脚踏车为老人家送餐献爱心。
我可以跟我的脚车一起做好事，这个是再好不过的一件事情。
OK， 我们今天有2组啊，一组是去 Bukit Batok， 一组是去那个Clementi 的 ，OK。
自从参与了这些公益活动，真的可以觉得我们是幸福的，比起很多人，所以要珍惜生命哦，不要留着遗憾。哎呀，弟，阿妈你好，好了，我们走了，拜拜。每次送餐后我们就会相聚在那个咖啡店，听我们说是要他们。是一般很有意思的老人吧，生活历练比我多，我已经认识他们快整10年了，有了那份感情，脚踏车让我找到懂我的人，了解我的人，感觉很好。
在新加坡作曲社举办的青年作曲家节音乐会上，嘉玲吹奏着萨克斯风和各种乐器，碰撞出别样火花。
Saxophone is a relatively young instrument. Composers are often, trying to find different techniques, different ways of producing sounds on this instrument, which I find fascinating, and it's a discovery of a whole new world that I really, really, really love. I see a lot of potential with how the saxophone can grow even more with me, developing and creating a new narrative for the saxophone as well. It's a never-ending journey of finding new ways to be weird with the instrument.
我的下一个目标，我想骑一圈世界，一辆脚车、背包、护照就走了，就可能几年不回家了。我希望我可以继续的骑行，不断的突破自己，然后不要带有任何的遗憾而离开这个世界。